my name is Kat, and this is my BEA book haul. So I just got back from Book Expo America in Chicago, and I have some new books to add to my collection. Most of the books I have here are ARCs, or Advanced Reader Copies, which are given out to booksellers and librarians and book reviewers before the book is actually published, but I do have one finished copy and 2 chapter samplers. And I don't usually like chapter samplers, but the 2 that I got were special. You'll see. Now, going into BEA, there were really only 4 books that I for sure knew I wanted and that I was willing to wait in line for hours and hours to get. And I managed to get all of them, so I'm very excited about that, and I'm gonna start with those books. So first up is what I feel to be my most successful BEA score, and that is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. It came in this cool box that says, "Open me." So I opened it, and that happened. And it's signed. This one was kind of difficult to get because a lot of people at BEA wanted it, and there wasn't so much a line as there was a mosh pit, and it was a little bit terrifying, but I managed to get a ticket even though I got separated from all my friends and I was waiting in line by myself, but it's fine. It was fine. I got the book. This is a story of the Queen of Hearts before she became the Queen of Hearts. And it sounds awesome, and it's Marissa Meyer, and, I feel very accomplished because I fought my way through a mosh pit to get it. Next up, I have here A Torch Against the Night by Saba Tahir. This is the sequel to An Ember in the Ashes, which I loved, and this was another book that was in very high demand at BEA this year. I didn't have to fight my way through a mosh pit for this one, but I did have to wait in line for 2.5 hours. But in the end, I got the book, and I got to see Saba again, and she signed it! It was a very long wait, but it was worth the wait. I've been dying for this book since the ending of the first one, which was not a standalone, so praise bless, the sequel is finally here. Then I have here Furthermore by Tahira Mafi. I really didn't think I was going to be able to get this book because the tickets for this and Heartless were dropping at the exact same time, and it was a tough decision, but I decided that I wanted to go for Heartless first. Most of the other booktubers I was with decided to go for Furthermore, but Natasha and I had a strategy, and that was going to Heartless and braving that mosh pit, and then booking it over to the Furthermore line and hopefully getting there in time. And our strategy paid off. We got both books, and the 4th book that was on my BEA wish list was Replica by Lauren Oliver. I don't quite know how to hold this book because of its format, which is actually one of the big things that intrigues me about it. Apparently, there are at least 3 ways to read this book. You can start with Gemma's story and read it straight through, and then flip the book over and read Lyra's story. Or you can start with Lyra's story and read that straight through, and then flip it over and read Gemma's story. Or if you're feeling feisty, you can read chapter 1 of Gemma, then chapter 1 of Lyra, then chapter 2 of Gemma, chapter 2 of Lyra, on and on and on. Just spinning that book around. It's a bit of a workout, but as someone who spends most of her life sitting down, I can use any bit of exercise I can get. Moving on to the next book I have here, which actually was also on my BEA wish list, but I knew ahead of time that I was definitely gonna get a copy, so I wasn't stressed out about waiting in line. The book is History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera, and I actually got to go to a dinner with Adam that his publicist had arranged, so that was very awesome, and I got one of the first signed ARCs of this book, which actually isn't out until January, so I'm sorry for the rest of you who have to wait a long time, but I am very excited about this. I started reading it a little bit on my plane ride home because I read More Happy Than Not on the plane back from BEA last year, and I wanted to do it again because it's tradition now, but about 20 pages in, I was like, I need to be somewhere where I can enjoy this and maybe possibly cry. Next up, I want to show you guys the 2 chapter samplers that I got. Normally with chapter samplers, I'm just why do you exist? But with these 2, I'm Thank you for existing. I love you. Thank you. So I have here Tales of the Peculiar by Ransom Riggs. This is beautiful. It's shiny, so I automatically love it. And it's signed, so I automatically really love it. And it is quite a short sampler, but I feel like with this, it really works because Tales of the Peculiar is like a bunch of short stories. So we get like one of the short stories, and I like it. I'm excited to read this, and I'm really excited for the finished book to come out. When do you come out? Oh my gosh, it comes out September 3rd. That's Loop Day. Then I have here Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. They only had samplers of this book at BEA, which I was a little bummed about because you guys know that this is my most anticipated, like #1 book of 2016 that I want. You guys also probably know that Laini Taylor is one of my favorite authors of all time. And I got to meet her, and it was awesome. She's so cool. It's a decent-sized sampler. Can you even tell it's still in this little container? And it came with a bunch of, like, buttons, which is really cool, because if you guys know anything about BEA, then you might be aware that at BEA, there are tote bags galore. So I got a bunch of pins, and I can decorate all my tote bags. Next up, I have here the one finished copy that I got, and that was You Know Me Well by David Levithan and Nina LaCour. It's hardcover, and it's signed by David Levithan, and I'm especially excited about this one because at Y'all West last month, I saw David and Nina speak on a panel about co-writing and their process, and it just got me so interested in this book. So I'm very much looking forward to giving this a go. Next up, I have 2 books that I actually didn't get at BEA, but they were both at BEA, so I thought I'd include them in this haul. First is Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I got this book in the mail from Random House like a few days before leaving for BEA, and if I hadn't just received it, then you bet I would have been waiting in line for a chance to get my hands on a copy of this at BEA. I loved Illuminae, and I actually got to meet Amy and Jay at Y'all West, and they were both so hilarious and fun that it just made me even more excited for this book. So I'm real happy I got a copy of this one. Then I have here The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I was kind of bummed that I missed this one at BEA because the signing for this was happening at the same time as A Torch Against the Night, and that's the one I chose to go for. But the day after BookCon, I spent the day at Sasha's house, and she had 2 copies of this book, and she asked me if I wanted one, and I said yes, please, thank you. I really enjoyed the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, but I don't think I've read anything else by her, though obviously I want to. So I'm happy I got this one. This book actually just came out, so this is one of the few books in this haul that if you want it, you can go get this immediately. Next up, I have here 3 Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. I don't know a whole lot about this book, but I really enjoyed the Anna Dressed in Blood duology by Kendar Blake, and apparently this one is about triplets fighting to the death to become queen. So I'm into that. Then I have here The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is another book that I haven't actually heard much about, but I really enjoyed Nicola Yoon's debut novel, Everything Everything, which I actually got at BEA last year, so of course I had to try to get a copy of this one, especially when it has a cover like the cover that it has, which I just think is really cool and bright, and I like the colors, and it has a good texture to it, which is always a plus in my book. Next up, I have here The 12 Days of Dash and Lily by David Levithan and Rachel Cohn. This is a sequel to Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, which I actually have not yet read, but a couple of my friends wanted to wait in line for this book, so I figured I might as well get a copy too. David Levithan and Rachel Cohn have written so many books together, and I haven't read any of them. So I think I'm going to start with Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, and then jump into this one, because I have this one, and I'm pretty sure I have Dash and Lily's Book of Dares somewhere in my immense collection of books. Next up, I have here Airy by Maria Devona Headley. This is the sequel to Magonia, which I read last year, and I thought it was a standalone, so I was a little bit surprised to see this at BEA, but I had to grab a copy. Magonia was very weird in a very good way, and I felt like there was room for more books in this world, so I am really looking forward to see where we're gonna go in this sequel. Next up is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. I picked up this one because I haven't yet read anything by Mindy McGinnis, though I've been meaning to, and also because from the sounds of it, this book is about a girl who has killed people, and not like in a fantasy supernatural way, but in a way where her sister was murdered and her killer walked free, so she went and killed him. And apparently she's not stopping there. So I'm kind of getting some Dexter vibes, which quite frankly sounds awesome. Next up I have here Spare and Found Parts by Sarah Maria Griffin. It's about a young woman who has a mechanical heart and she doesn't really feel like she fits in anywhere, so she sets out to build herself a companion who might understand her. When I was in line for Replica, they were also handing this book out, and as soon as I heard steampunk, I was sold, so I picked up a copy. Next up is a middle grade book that I picked up, and that is The Secret Keepers by Trenton Lee Stewart. Picking up this book was super impulsive. Like, Jesse and I were walking by the line, and we saw the cover and thought it looked really cool, and the line was pretty short, so we got it. I don't think I've read any middle grade yet this year, and like, I've only read like 10 books so far this year because of the slump. I feel like middle grade leans more in a whimsical direction than most young adult books do, and I could use some more whimsy in my life. So, yeah. I'm glad I picked this one up. Then I have here My Sister Rosa by Justine Larbalestier. This is about a teenage boy who truly believes that his 10-year-old sister is a psychopath. Like, she should be diagnosed. She is dangerous. If she's not doing bad things directly, then she's getting other people to do bad things. And it just sounds dark and interesting, and apparently I'm into that kind of thing. Then I have here Signs of You by Emily France. This one is about a teenage girl who lost her mother a few years back, and she's formed kind of a new little family in her support group. But then she thinks she saw her mother at the grocery store, and some of the other people in the support group report similar experiences. And it's kind of a question as to if they're all suffering some symptom of post-traumatic stress, or they're imagining it, or if something a little bit more magical is happening. And finally, I have here It Wasn't Always Like That by Joy Preble. It starts when these two families take this experimental polio vaccine, and they all end up becoming immortal. They can live forever as long as they aren't murdered. This group of religious fanatics discovers this and decides that both of these families need to be wiped out. So they try to kill everyone, but two people escape. A girl from one family named Emma and a boy from the other family named Charlie. Emma and Charlie get away, but they're separated. And so they spend the next 100 years trying to find each other again, but also trying to stay the heck away from this group who is still trying to kill them. Does that not sound awesome? Does that not sound like it would be an excellent movie as well? Like, I don't know if there's movie rights for this book or what, but I would watch that. I'm gonna read this. I will read this. Okay, that is it. Those were all of the books for my BEA book haul, and that's gonna do it for this video today. I did film a lot during BEA, so I will be putting up some vlogs on my vlog channel. Oh yeah, I have a vlog channel. If you don't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. What was I doing? I got distracted by Hamilton. Anyways, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great night, and I will have another video up soon, so I will see you then. Goodbye! Then I have here The Problem with Forever by Jennifer That's not her name. Ooh, it's told in a dual point of view. who's gonna die. Then I have here Airy by Maria I'm very tired if you can't tell from the depleted energy I'm now exuding. Wow, those were some SAT words right there. Oh, bollocks, I need a thumbnail. Thumbnail it up. Hey, hey, hey. Gotta get that thumbnail. Thumbnail it up. Hey, 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 I need a thumbnail. Stop singing.